If you had the chance to save the person you love most, but the price was your honor, would you pay it? And if no one would ever find out, if taking that one shortcut could erase years of suffering, hunger, and heartbreak, would you still walk away? My name is Annie. What I'm about to tell you happened during the darkest season of my life, a season when every prayer felt unanswered, every door seemed locked, and every sunrise brought a new reason to be afraid. People often say that character is everything, but character means very little when the person you love is dying in front of you. At least that is what I thought until the day Elder Oladapo tested my soul and almost broke it. The kingdom of Aremo had many wealthy merchants, but there was only one Elder Oladapo. His name traveled farther than the caravans that carried his goods. In every marketplace, traders whispered stories about him. Some claimed his granaries could feed the entire kingdom for 10 years. Others swore his gold vaults were so vast that 10 men could stand inside without touching the walls. Nobody knew how much was true, but everyone agreed on one thing. If Elder Oladapo offered you an opportunity, your life would never be the same again. That was why hundreds gathered outside his estate. That was why I stood among them. Not because I wanted wealth, not because I dreamed of power. I was there because my mother was dying. Every night, a coffin tore through the silence of our tiny hut. Every morning, she looked smaller than the day before. The woman whose hands had once woven baskets faster than anyone in the village could barely lift a bowl of water to her lips. The herbalist had given me hope, but hope came with a terrible price. The medicine she needed cost more than I could earn in years. When I begged for mercy, the herbalist lowered his eyes and shook his head slowly. Any, if I could give it freely, I would, but the ingredients travel from far away. I cannot change what it costs. I left his hut, feeling as though the ground had dissolved beneath my feet. Then I heard about Elder Oladapo. One position, one steward, one final chance. I was willing to endure anything to get it, or so I believed. The estate gates towered above us like the entrance to another world. When they finally opened, silence swept through the crowd like a cold wind. We were led into a vast courtyard where the midday heat rose from the stones themselves. At the far end, Elder Oladapo sat still as stone. He was older than I expected, white hair, a deeply lined face, but his eyes were sharp enough to cut through lies, moving slowly across the crowd as though reading something written beneath our skin. Then he spoke. I am not searching for the strongest. His voice was calm, yet every person heard him clearly. I am not searching for the smartest. He rose from his seat. I am searching for the one person whose character remains standing when everything else falls. The first test came immediately. Hours of moving enormous stones beneath a merciless sun. No explanation, no reward promised, just labor. By sunset, nearly half the contestants had quit. That night, around a small fire, I met a young man named Chidi. He seemed warm. He shared food, made people laugh, helped the injured without being asked. Everyone trusted him quickly, including me. The next morning, as we cleaned dusty grain bins in the sweltering heat, Chidi suddenly stopped and leaned close. No one is watching, he whispered. We've done enough. Come rest. I looked at the unfinished work. If we agree to do it, I said quietly, then we finish it. Something cold flickered behind his eyes before his smile returned. From that moment, I watched him differently. Days passed. The challenges grew harder. The crowd thinned. until only five of us remained. Then came the final evening. We sat inside a storehouse lit by lanterns. The air felt heavy, the kind of stillness that arrives just before something breaks. Elder Oladapo entered. He carried two small leather pouches. Without a word, he set one on the central table where everyone could see it clearly. The second he placed on a high wooden shelf near the back wall, half hidden behind stacked grain sacks, visible only to someone paying close attention. Then he walked out. The door closed behind him. Silence swallowed the room. Everyone stared at the pouch on the table. I noticed the second one immediately. Minutes passed. Then Chidi stood casually, as though simply stretching, walked to the table and palmed the visible pouch into his robe without a word. He caught my eye on the way back. A silent warning. Stay quiet. My heart hammered because I had seen the second pouch and I understood now this was the real test. Not just resisting temptation, but choosing between silence and truth when speaking the truth would cost you everything. I approached the shelf slowly. My fingers touched the pouch. Gold, real gold. The weight of it felt like the weight of my mother's life pressing into my palm. I opened it. The coins caught the lantern light and glittered like answers to prayers I had almost stopped praying. Take it, the voice inside me whispered. No one saw you. No one will know. Your mother is dying. My hands trembled. Then I remembered something. Years before, a trader had accidentally given my mother extra coins at the market. Nobody would ever have known if she kept them, but she returned every single one. When I asked her why, she smiled and said something I never forgot. Honesty is not about who is watching Annie, it is about who lives inside your heart. Tears blurred my vision. I looked at the gold, then at my own reflection wavering in the lantern flame, and I knew if I walked out of that room with stolen gold, I might save my mother's body, but I would lose something inside myself that no medicine could ever restore. I closed the pouch. I cannot buy my future with stolen honor, I whispered to no one. Then I carried both pouches, the one I had found and the truth about Chidi, directly to Elder Oladapo. When everyone gathered, Elder Oladapo said nothing at first. He simply looked at each face in the room. Then he turned to Chidi. You believed the reward belonged to whoever moved fastest. His voice carried no anger, only a quiet final weight, but a man who cannot be trusted in small things will destroy great ones. Chidi was dismissed without ceremony. Then Elder Oladapo faced me. Gold can be earned, he said. Knowledge can be taught, but character, he paused. Character is the only thing that cannot be faked forever. He looked directly into my eyes. Amy, from this day, you will serve as steward of this estate. That same night, he placed enough money in my hands to buy every ingredient the herbalist had named. I ran. I bought the medicine, and I sat beside my mother through the long nights that followed, watching her breathe, praying each breath would not be the last. Slowly her coughing eased. Slowly her eyes grew bright again. And on the morning I saw her walk outside and settle beneath the village tree with a half woven basket in her lap, I sat down on the ground and wept. Not from sadness, from gratitude so deep it had no words. Years passed. I rose to become one of the most trusted figures in the kingdom. Merchants sought my counsel. Elders asked for my presence at important decisions. Young men came to learn from me, not because I was the strongest among those who stood in that courtyard, not because I was the smartest, but because when the moment arrived, the moment when no one was watching, when the easy road lay open, I chose the harder path. And that choice followed me like a light everywhere I went. Today, I want to ask you something. What is your pouch of gold? Maybe it is not money. Maybe it is a shortcut, a half truth, an opportunity that promises to solve everything while quietly demanding a piece of who you are. Every person alive will face that moment, a moment when no one is watching, a moment when the wrong choice feels almost reasonable, a moment when life whispers, just this once. That moment does not just test you, it reveals you. Money can be lost, power fades, fame disappears overnight. But a good name, a life lived with integrity, grows more valuable with every passing year. Protect it, guard it fiercely, never trade it for something temporary, because the choices you make when no one is watching are the very choices that build or destroy your destiny. If this story moved you, subscribe to this channel. Type integrity in the comments and make a promise to yourself today that no matter how hard life becomes, you will remain true to who you are. Share this with someone who needs this reminder right now. And remember, a legacy built on truth will always outlive a fortune built on lies.